Welcome back to the Ascension Series. I am going to be answering some questions today. I've gotten a few questions that I kind of am going to sum up into one and then tackle it with you. So we're going to talk about moving pieces. So okay, how do we save those that are falling down the wrong path? When you move through this journey and you wake up, we're just going to call it that for right now. How do you save those that are either moving into a heavy faith mindset, a very small box mindset? How do we save our partners who are staying in 3D as we're moving into 4, 5, 6, 7D? What do we do? How do we save them? Um, Let me just see what else is on here. All right. How do we save them? And what does that really look like? So I'm going to start with, as lovingly as possible, you don't. It's not your job. It's not your role. It's not your path. We have this weird thing that we do, and we all do it, where we look through our own lens. And so, wherever you are in your awakening or ascension or whatever you want to call that process, you're still looking through your lens. You're looking through your lens of, I ache for them to understand, to get it, to whatever. But what's the actual pain point? Often it's the fear of losing them. If they're going to be giving me judgment, we can talk about how to handle getting judgment because that's a big piece of it too, especially the unawaked and the wake. Like I talk to aliens, guys. I channel aliens. Um, I see them. I travel in my dreams. I travel in my meditation. I do all those things, and I get a lot of like, oh, crazy. I've been there. I've done it. I've got it. Okay. So we're talking about how to handle that and how do we progress forward with these connections, with these relationships. So I truly believe that everybody finds their own journey, their own path. You cannot force a baby to eat a 4 course meal. It needs to graduate its eating process. You cannot force a child to run a marathon when it's not even crawling yet. This is an evolutionary process. So if you are getting caught up in, this is hard truth, if you're getting caught up in, they're not awake, it's not fair, like I want them to understand, I need them to get it, you're being very selfish and ouch, right? You want for them because you want them to be with you. You don't want to lose them. Also, we have this crazy, okay, so let's stick to the lens and then we'll talk about potential. So we're looking through our lens of our journey. You and I could have had the exact same horrific thing happen at the exact same time by the exact same people. We could have been held at gunpoint. We could have watched someone, like, horrible situation. We could have had something like that. And we both would have perceived it very differently. We both will perceive, even if you're children of the same parents, you'll perceive your childhood different. You'll perceive your trauma different. And you ingest that and you hold that in the subconscious. Then from there, you start to react and respond to the world around you based on your lens, how you see the world. So if you see injustice, then you're going to go for an advocate. You're going to be that. When we're looking at our religious friends or our 3D friends or unawakened friends, we're judging. We're looking through our lens, being like, but if you only knew. But that's not their path, nor is it their desire at that timeline. We have to really, truly meet people where they're at. We all have our own way of finding our path. We're all different hybrids of star seeds. We're all different experiences, different walks of life, right? So we're going to find our journey and our path. And often the path we walk, I had a very, very strict religion as a teenager and a young child. If I did not have that experience, it wouldn't have propelled me to where I am right now. I was raised in my teen years as a Jehovah's Witness. Just my personal opinion right now. You saw my face. You get it? But I didn't know any better. So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, stayed that way in my first marriage, and then walked away from it. Then I went and studied actually every other faith that I could get my hands on just to be like, what's the common denominator between them all? I wasn't looking for God. What's the common denominator? That why? Why is this the thing? That led me down where I am to now. Without that journey, I wouldn't have arrived here. So if you have this ache for someone who's taking that path or is very submerged in that path, you're judging them for their path. You're judging them for their experience, for their journey. If they're projecting onto you, maybe take it as a sign that, like, shitty, but you guys don't match anymore. You're not aligned, and that's okay. It means that something better and more aligned is coming into your life. We do not realize, and if I could give advice, I do give advice to my younger self all the time, but one of the bits of advice would be when something leaves, it's because something better is on its way. We are here for an evolutionary process. There's no going backwards unless you choose to go backwards. So if you have this amazing relationship, this amazing connection, friendship, love, whatever it is, and they're taking a very different path, it's because something else that or better is coming into your life. But we are taught that it's like, it has to be that you have to make it work. And I'm not an advocate for like divorce or whatever, do your thing. I'm not saying walk away in a heartbeat. What I'm saying is if it starts to misalign, disalign, I don't know how to say that properly, that is it going down a different path so that you can receive something more serving. They're going down their own evolutionary path. You're going down yours. That's all. Now, looking through your lens, you're going to ache and you're going to want for them based on what you have experienced, how you perceive the world, how you perceive religion or 3D or whatever. That's you. That's not them. Let them walk their journey. Let them go on their journey. They may have lessons to teach. They may have, for lack of better terminology, I don't believe in karma, but we're just going to use this term to make it easy. They may have karmic lessons to teach or learn. That's how they're going to go through their evolutionary process. Allow it. We don't want to look at our loved ones who aren't matching us energetically. One, we don't want to think that we're superior because we're not. We're not. I liken that to like an oak tree, right? There's a little seed in the ground that's trying to break root, like trying to break open and create root and go through the soil and become a little sapling and grow into a tree. And then there's a big oak tree. Do you think the oak tree is looking at that and going, I know better. This is what you should be doing? Not at all. It's not judging it. It's acknowledging it for where it's at. It's still the same thing. It's going to be a tree in its own time. There's no race. There's no rush. There's no pressure at all. Take that away. Take that out of the equation. There's no need for any form of judgment in any way whatsoever. There's simply acknowledgement of where you're at. Meet them where they're at. The other thing we don't want to do is look at someone's potential. Looking at someone's potential, what you feel their potential is. Okay. So we're looking at our partners and they're like, oh, they could do this. They could be great at this. If they just learned this piece, if they just figured that out, we're looking at them and we're going, oh, their potential. Their potential through our perception, what we think their potential is only what we would do if we were them. That's it. It has nothing to do with what they are capable or incapable or willing or unwilling to do. It's what we would do if we were them. That's looking through your lens. So we need to take that out of the equation. So you're not here to save them at all. There's nothing to be saved from. It's a journey that is not rushed, not forced. There is no finish line. It's just simply an experience. So we need to get judgment out of the equation. Does it hurt when we watch someone go down a different path and we feel that space happening? 100% it does. That's okay. It's normal to feel that pain and that angst, but it's also an opportunity for you to discover. Like when I get in those situations, I'm like, wow, I'm really proud of how I've healed myself. I'm really proud of my perception in life. I'm really, really proud of myself for arriving out of the pain and sorting into or discovering what really serves me. It has nothing to do with fucking spirituality. And that's what I hate about our world right now and why I'm struggling with going on TikTok, because it's so like the spiritual awakening path. And it's not even that, it's an evolutionary process. Spirituality is what the same people that threw out religion, the same people that developed government, that same cloud have thrown spirituality into the mix so that we're like, okay, I'm going to Buddha out. Like like woke as fuck, whatever the acronym is, woke as fuck. I was trying not to say fuck and then I said it anyways. This is how my brain is working today. I've spent the whole day, as you can see behind me, working on the embodiment retreat, the Power 369, and how to restructure your DNA. And that time is actually, it's just been mind bending all day. So my brain's in 100 different spots, but I really wanted to bring some comfort forward, but also a little bit like set yourself straight energy here with this, because we got quite a few questions around that. How do I save them? So you don't. You meet them where they're at and you ask if they're willing or capable, regardless of what it is, willing or capable. If they are capable, but they are unwilling, nothing's going to change. Let it go. There's boundaries right all over the place. Boundaries, and allow something better in, something more serving to you. If they're willing, but they're not capable, that's a golden ticket. Because if they're willing, they will become capable over time. And so every time, so there's that piece. You just want to recognize where they're at. You want to meet them where they're at. There's no need to trigger someone. There's no need to teach. There's no need to push someone. If you're in a position where people want to learn from you, then yes, that's your role. But if they're not asking, then it is not your role. You need to shut up, you need to stop, and you need to love and accept them for where they're at. That is the only way. By coming into acceptance of where they're at and loving them there, that's what's going to make them feel valued with you and loved by you. And that's the biggest gift you can give any human. I teach this to my mentors in the certification program. Your number one priority with anybody in front of you, make them feel seen, heard, and valued. That's all. Meet them where they're at. So we really want to be careful that we're not pushing or triggering someone into. If you're receiving judgment from them, what's the judgment about? Is a judgment about where you're at in your journey? Because by the questions that I'm getting, you're judging them from where they're at in their journey. You're just doing it silently. So it's kind of the same thing. So let that go. If you're receiving judgment for not following their path, then they need to listen to this podcast and stop preaching. That's the one thing that made me bonkers about having to be a Jehovah's Witness, was like going door to door, like cringy is so cringy. Don't do that. It is a find your own path, walk your own path. I have so much admiration for anyone in a chosen faith, because it creates dedication to something, and to be dedicated to the highest possible version of yourself. That's something to be honored. I love that shit. I don't care what faith it is. If you are in it to be the best version of yourself, that's beautiful. You're a good person. That's not the case with all people, all members of faith, but I mean, let it go, right? So there's that. The other piece was in and around, like, how do we walk away from them, or how do we let them go? You don't have to. You can stop looking at their quote unquote potential. Stop looking through your lens, your desire to save them. Ask yourself, is this a selfish thing because I don't want to lose them? Then you're not trusting your path. You're not trusting what's coming in for you, and you're not trusting them walking their path. So you're going to step back and work on trust, trusting your journey, your path. You're going to meet them where they're at. Are they willing? Are they capable? That's all. Then from there, if it's still feeling like there's a lot of conflict, you're going to move into boundaries, where you can excuse yourself from that part of the conversation. You can say, I love that you're sharing this with me. This isn't supportive to us building a beautiful relationship. So I just like to put that aside and stay connected where we are. You can say that. You can say, I know it's not, this is my favorite boundary. I know it's not your intention, but by you pushing your faith on me, it's making me feel as though you're judging me for where I'm at. Are you okay? Like, is everything all right? And then you're opening up the gateway. You're deflecting. You're opening up the gateway to say, is everything okay with us? I don't really like what you're doing. You're pointing a finger to, please stop doing that. Are you all right? And if they do it again, you go, are you all right? Like, what's going on with you today? That's making me feel super uncomfortable. I'd love to just be with you. You can set those boundaries. Or you can say, I'd really like to excuse myself from this part of the conversation. Thanks. And walk away. Take a time out. Go to the bathroom. Come back. So set your boundaries. I think a lot of it boils down to the fear of not having them. And that is a very valid fear. It is scary losing people. I understand. I've lost a lot of people in my life. And as we grow and become more self aware, I don't like the term spiritual, as we become more self aware and we expand our universal wisdom, then we move into more love, more acceptance, and not everybody follows. Sometimes you trigger people just by being in their presence. Sometimes you trigger people because you can set boundaries because you honor yourself. Sometimes you trigger people because you're very authentic and comfortable and you're not going to shapeshift yourself. You trigger them and they want to walk away from you, and it can be uncomfortable. But when you understand that people will align and you can grow apart or you can come back together, it's a journey of it's okay to let someone go and allow something new to come in because it's always going to be that or better. 100%. If you allow it, it will always be that or better. All right. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for all of the questions. I adore you guys. So keep throwing your questions about the things that you want me to bring to the table, and I will happily jump on board and get all your questions answered. Bree's been putting them all into a document for me. So we'll keep moving forward with that. All right. Go have an amazing, amazing Tuesday. And until I see you again, go look in the mirror and find a million reasons to say thank you. I love you. Bye, guys.